forecast. The date is the 1st of March. So today, what am I looking at on the Aussie US dollar? So as you can see, guys, what's happened overnight is that we've broken this high with a little bit of momentum, not too much. Again, came into this liquidity area, and then of course we started to break the high, retrace, break the high, retrace, break the low, retrace. And of course, after that, we have broken the low, retrace, and then pushed up, but again, formed a small wick. So again, for me personally, I'm not really seeing too much momentum here, but I do know, of course, we know that this pair likes to trend correctively, okay? It does like to move up in this kind of manner, okay? Now for me, again, you can see that we have pushed up. We haven't really seen too much of a shift. We have kind of formed this ascending, and we have started to push up again. So again, what am I looking for next? If we retrace and break this high with momentum and pull back to this level, I will be looking to get involved in a continuation. Why? Because of course this pair likes to trend correctively. Given the right price action, I will be looking to get involved. But again, price does not have to do that. We could just start to impulse. If we start to impulse up from here, I will be looking to get involved in a nice continuation flag to go to the upside. Why is that? Well, we're seeing the commitment, so of course we want to be involved in that trend, okay? But now remember, it's important to know also that, is this showing me that much momentum? No, not really. We are breaking the high with a little bit of momentum. You can see that even this candle has broken it, but again, that has given me enough evidence that we are seeing some commitment. So again, like I said, depending on how we move here will depend on if I enter a trade or not, okay? Now we can also impulse to the downside. If we impulse down, I'm more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag to the downside, okay? Again, very, very high probability. Now again, we may not do that. We might just break the high, retrace, come up in this ascending manner from this location here. If we do that, I will be sitting on my hands being patient and seeing what happens next. If we impulse down, more than happy to get involved in a nice continuation flag to the downside, very high probability. If we break the low with momentum, pull back to this level, I will be looking to get involved in a nice reversal setup, okay? So that's what I'll be looking at on the Aussie US dollar. As you can see, we have essentially started this move up. We have come up in this kind of very weak correction and start to push up again. So again, we know, like I say, this pair does like to trend correctively. So again, if I see the right kind of price action, the most recent or most high probable trade to happen here is something like this, okay? So that's what I'll be looking for on the Aussie US dollar. Next pair is the Aussie Japanese yen. As you can see, guys, overnight, what has happened? We've broken this high, come into this liquidity area, taken out the liquidity, come down, but again, we didn't really see that momentum, okay? So again, what's happened? We've broken this high, retraced, we've broken this low, retraced, giving us the evidence that we're going to be range bound, and as you can see, that is what has happened here, okay? Now I'm just checking the highs, 74, 71, yes. So again, we have, after that, we have broken this high, retrace, broken the low, retrace. Then we have just broken the high again, and looks like we are retracing within this hour. So again, giving us clear evidence that we don't know where we want to go, anticipating a lot more of this range, okay? Now for me, again, the most kind of closest kind of possible moves that can happen is that if we start to push up, pull back, push up again, I will be looking to get involved in a continuation of a trade, okay? We can see that we are, in a sense, moving in the upward in the upward direction. We can see we are breaking the highs, breaking the lows, retracing is giving us indication that we will be range bound. But again, you know, if I start to see this kind of price action, it is very, very high probability on this pair. But again, it has to be very, very convincing for me to get involved, okay? Now, we may not get that. We might just come up, break the high and retrace, break the high, retrace, break the high, retrace, consistently, forming this ascending nature. If we do that, I will be sitting on my hands and waiting for more price action. If we start to impulse down, I'll be more than happy to look to get involved in a nice continuation flag. If we break the low with momentum, pull back to this level, we'll be looking for a nice reversal setup, okay? Very high probability. Now, we may not get that. You can see that we kind of, like I say, in a sense, ascending. We can just impulse down. If we impulse down, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag to the downside. Again, very, very high probability, okay? Now, again, in a sense, we are ascending, but again, we are seeing that weakness. If we look at the majors, we're seeing breaking high, retracing, break high, retracing, break the high, retracing. We are in this kind of ascending manner. So again, depending on how we actually break this low and pull back to a level here, I will be looking to get involved in a nice reversal setup, okay? But again, has to be very, very good price action, very convincing price action for me. Again, that is what I'll be looking at on the Aussie Japanese yen. Next pair is the Euro US dollar. As you can see, especially from last night's forecast, that I haven't really posted. Just a quick note, I don't really post the evening forecast. I will post the morning forecast. I said we're anticipating a lot more of this range. Again, what am I looking at on the Euro US dollar? So I'm still anticipating a lot more of a range, okay, till my next evening forecast. Or we could just start to impulse. If we start to impulse in either direction, I'm looking to get involved in a nice continuation flag, either to the upside or to the downside. Okay, these are very, very nice, very high probability on this pair. They look very, very good and often do work out. Okay, so very high probability on this pair. And again, we may not get that if we start to continue this range or start to begin to come out in an ascending manner. I will be sitting my hands, being patient and looking for opportunity to go back down south. And same for the downside. If we range and come down in a descending manner, I will be looking for opportunities to go to the north side depending on how price action is here. Okay, so again, anticipating a lot more of a range for Euro US dollar. I think that there'll be a lot of more price action needed before I look for any entries before the next evening forecast. Next pair is the Euro Japanese yen. As you can see, very similar to the Euro US dollar, we are pretty much sideways. So again, we're going to have liquidity here, and essentially, in a sense, it is basically the same forecast as the Euro US dollar. If we impulse up, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag, very high probability, and same to the downside. If we impulse down, more than happy to look for a nice continuation flag, again, very, very high probability. But for now, again, I'm anticipating more of a range, okay? I'm not looking to get involved in any kind of setups, especially from a descending. It looks like we're very close to the low. We could just come down in this descending manner. But again, this would have to take quite a few hours to form. And I don't believe this will form until the next forecast. So again, I will be sitting my hands, be patient and waiting for more price action, either impulsive or anticipating a little bit more of a range. Okay, we could just break out of here correctively, but again, I'll be waiting and seeing what happens after that. And I think I'll forecast this in the evening. Okay, so let's see what happens on the Euro Japanese yen. Next pair is the pound. As you can see, we're pretty stagnant. So again, on this pair, I like to see a lot more movement. So again, we have not been really moving anywhere. We've broken the high, retraced. I think we've just broke this low, retraced, anticipating more of this range, and that's exactly what we got. Okay, no commitment in either direction. So what am I looking for? If we impulse up, more than happy to get involved in a nice flag, very high probability setup. Same to the downside. If we impulse down, more than happy to look to get involved in a nice continuation flag. Again, very, very high probability setup. Now, it's not uncommon on this pair to actually get this kind of wider flag where we get this impulse, come down, then we start to see this range within here, and then we break the low and retrace and go. Okay, that is very high probability on this pair. And that's same to the downside, of course. Come down, pull back, start to see a bit of a range. This is like a wider flag, break the high, and then of course go. Okay, very high probability on this pair. But again, till the next forecast, I'm looking for a lot more impulsive action before I look for any kind of setups on this pair. So I want to see a lot more movement away from this price action. Price action is saying that we're going to be range bound. We have been pretty range bound from that last impulse down. So again, waiting for more price action on the pound. Next pair is the New Zealand Japanese yen. As you can see, we are seeing quite a lot of weakness. We had this massive gap, but again, what's happened? We've broken the high, retrace, broken the low, retrace. No evidence up, no evidence down. Anticipating more of a range, and I'm sure that is what I forecast yesterday, and that is exactly what we got. We have this range within here, okay? So again, what am I looking for on this pair? Now for me, I don't trade flags on this pair, so again, if we start to come up in an ascending manner, I will be sitting on my hands, being patient and seeing what happens next. If we break the low, pull back to this level, I will be looking to get involved in a nice reversal setup. Again, that is very, very high probability considering the price action is in a sense ascending and we are kind of struggling to go up. So again, I will be looking for this kind of setup, okay? Now again, we may not do that. We might start to push up and move up correctively. If we do that, I will be looking to get involved in a nice setup, something like this, okay? Where I'm seeing the evidence of momentum, seeing no shift, and seeing a nice push and pull back to this level, okay? Price action has to be very good in this for me to actually get involved, especially coming from this kind of range bound price action. So again, I want to see a lot more price action on this pair. The most notable pairs are of course the Aussie, where it is more likely we could possibly get a trade. But again, still waiting for more price action on the other pairs till I actually start to look for setups, okay? So that's what I'm looking at the market ahead. Hope you guys have a fantastic trading day.